Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be taking a look at how we can use the Cursed City heroes in Warcry. In this video I thought it would be fun to see if we could put together a 1000 point warband using the heroes from Cursed City. The rules are going to be we can have one leader, we can have one hero, and all the fighters have to be chosen from the fighter cards from the Cities of Sigmar faction, and this is all going to fall in line with the rules for open and match play, and also for the rules if we were to play our first game of a narrative campaign. I'll be using the Warcry Sentinels of Order supplement book for all the fighter cards and the abilities, and you can find from page 12 onwards the Cities of Sigmar information. This gives you a little bit of background as to why the Cities of Sigmar would be in the 8 points, what they're up to and how they fit into the game of Warcry, and this is a great introduction to the Cities of Sigmar, which has got some awesome mechanics where you choose one city and then they come with their specific abilities and for the fighters and for the leaders. So I've chosen to go with Hammerhall for my city of origin, and I think this got some great abilities that I really like. I think it'll fit in with the kind of tone of the warband I want to put together with these heroes, and I think that'll work really well. If you're interested in the Cities of Sigmar for a Warcry warband, then I've done a separate video on this on the channel already, where I go into detail about how to set it up and how the mechanics works for building a Warcry warband around the different cities. For the warband we're building today, I really like the idea that comes with the Cursed City box, that the heroes arrive at their destination in a Caradron sky vessel, and I wanted to kind of use that in the narrative for this warband, and I imagine them as a group of ragtag mercenaries assembled together, venturing across the 8 points for gold and glory, kind of evading the enemy as they travel through the clouds, but then when they see their prey or they see an opportunity, they swoop down and kind of attack from a distance. So there's going to be a lot of range weapons in use here, and kind of use their teamwork and power to achieve their goals. So let's get started putting together our 1000 point warband with the Cursed City heroes. As you'll see in the video I've done of Cities of Sigmar, you can choose one of 7 cities, and they'll each come with some of the same abilities, but you'll also get 2 unique fighter abilities and 2 unique leader abilities for each city, and it's these abilities that really set the tone and give you some different styles of play, and you can work that into the narrative of your warband as you create them. I've chosen the city of Hammerhall because I really like both the unique fighter abilities and the leader abilities, and it fit in well with a narrative, and I like the naming of these fighter abilities too. Reclaim for Sigmar, as if they've been charged with a mission to reclaim some lost treasure, or maybe they're on a righteous purpose funded by some mystic where they've got to go in and find some lost scrolls or take out an enemy or even reclaim some lost souls. So I really like the way they worded this. But all the fighters in the warband are going to get to use this double, which is called Reclaim for Sigmar, and the quad, which is a righteous purpose. So I'll go through these now, and then as we go through the video, you'll know that each of the fighters will be able to use these abilities if they want to. Okay, so the first one is a double called Reclaim for Sigmar. A fighter can use this ability only if they are within 3 inches of an objective. Add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristic of attack actions made by this fighter, this activation, that have a range characteristic of 3 or less. This is a great start, really nice double there, but it does have to be for a range characteristic of 3 or less. So this is going to affect some of the fighters. They won't be able to use it, but others will, and it's all kind of driven around the objective. So I really like that. You can really get to that objective and then really boost your strength and attack characteristic to defend it. So that's our first one, the double. Next we're on to a quad called Righteous Purpose. This fighter makes a bonus attack action that has a range characteristic of 3 or less. Then pick one friendly fighter within 3 inches of this fighter. That fighter makes a bonus attack action that has a range characteristic of 3 or less. So I really like this one. The idea of working together as a team, this group of mercenaries, all working towards the common goal, assisting each other. And so if once one can make the bonus attack, they inspire their kind of fellow fighter to get stuck in too, and they can make a bonus attack too. So I think if you combine this with the double reclaim and you're trying to hold down an objective, this could be really powerful and could certainly give you quite a lot of power to hold an objective or even attack and claim one. Now we've seen the fighter abilities that all the fighters in the Warband are going to use, let's have a look at the leader. And for the leader, I've chosen the Octron Glimscry model. And straight away, it's a really obvious choice, this one, the Battle Mage. Some of the fighters were really difficult to decide which card from Cities of Sigmar they'd be best suited to. And I wanted to keep it really strict and not move into any other factions and bring them in as heroes or allies. I didn't want to do that. So this one was really straightforward. So right in there, you're going to have the leader, the mystic figure, the Battle Mage. And at 175 points, he's going to have a movement of 4, toughness 3, and can take 22 wounds. He's got the leader rune mark and the mystic rune mark, and he's got 2 weapon options. The first one is a minimum range of 3, maximum 7. He can make 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 3 to 6 on the crit. And then his second weapon, if he gets up close, he's got a range of 2, can make 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So for 175 points and for a mystic kind of leader, this is about the standard that we're going to see. But it's the abilities that I kind of like from Hammerhall City. And so let's check out the abilities we can use with this leader. Using a Battle Mage means we get 3 out of a possible 4 leader abilities, and the first one is called Form Shield Wall, and this is a double, and this is going to be the same for any city that you choose. And with this one, until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the toughness characteristic of friendly fighters with the Bulwark rune mark while they are within 3 inches of this fighter. And so if you don't have another fighter with that Bulwark rune mark, then this is going to be like a wasted ability. You're not really going to use this one. But the others are really great. So the triple, this is a unique one for Hammerhall, and this is called for Sigmar and for Hammerhall. A fighter can use this ability only if an enemy fighter has been taken down by an attack action made by them this activation. Until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the attacks characteristics of attack actions that have a range characteristic of 3 or less made by visible friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. So this is one of those abilities that's a bit of a mouthful with a few conditions, but as long as this fighter takes down an enemy fighter, they can use it, and then that's going to give some great benefits, adding some attack characteristics to the attack actions. So it doesn't have to be 1, it can be 2 if they're making 2 attack actions in an activation. And this can be for all visible friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. And they've got to have a range characteristic of 3 or less. So a few conditions, but if we can meet those, I think for a triple, this could be quite powerful. Certainly towards the end, or into like a couple of battle rounds, when this one started to take down some of the enemy fighters, this can really empower those friendly fighters around him. So this triple could be quite good. The final leader ability is my favourite, and this is a quad called the Twin-Tailed Comet. Pick a visible enemy fighter anywhere on the battlefield and roll a number of dice equal to the value of this ability. For each 2+, allocate 3 damage points to that fighter. I love this ability. I think for a quad it's high, but you're getting a lot here. If you roll a 5 or 6 for the ability value, you can roll 5 or 6 dice, and then for each 2+, you get to allocate 3 damage points to the fighter. So the chances are you're going to get a fair few hits there and allocate quite a lot of damage. There's no range, so it could be completely across the other side of the battlefield, or you can choose an objective that you want to kind of dominate and then attack. So this is a really great ability, and for sure my favourite. The next fighter is Jelson Darrock, and he's going to be the hero for this warband. And I went through a few options for different heroes that I liked, but I couldn't get the points of all the other fighters to match up to that 1,000 points. So it went a little bit higher, and it went a little bit too much over it, and so I had to try and keep it to 1,000. This kind of fitted in, and so this is where I used up that hero. And for a Shadow Walker, this is 150 points, and I think the stats really match the miniature of Jelson Darrock. And with this fighter, it's 150 points. We're going to get a movement of 5. Toughness 3, can take 16 wounds. We've got the leader rune mark, so we can use the leader abilities. And we've also got 1 other rune mark, so we can't use this hero for a leader in any other way except for that ability. But he's also got another rune mark anyway, so that's going to give him another ability, which is great. And he's got 2 weapon choices, and I thought this fit in with the gun that he carries, the rifle there, and the hammer. So with the rifle, it's a weapon range of minimum 3, maximum 16, 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So not super powerful, but I thought if you get up close, then we've got another weapon, range 1, 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So I really like this balance where he's got that range, not going to do a lot of damage there, but if you get too close to him, he's got those spikes, he's got that hammer, and he can certainly do some damage with them both. As a Shadow Walker, Jelson Darrock's going to get that double form shield wall leader ability that we've already seen, and he's also going to get that triple for Sigmar and for Hammerhall, but he's then going to get another ability, which is a triple, and this is a regular fighter ability called Volley of Shots. Add half the value of this ability, rounding up to the attacks characteristic of the next attack action made by this fighter that targets an enemy fighter more than 3 inches away. This ability we're going to see quite a lot in this warband because a lot of them have got ranged weapons, but it's so good for a triple, especially if you get like a 5 or 6, you can halve that, rounding up, so that's going to be 3, and you can then add 3 to your attacks characteristic as long as that fight is more than 3 inches away. So this one, the Shadow Walker kind for Jelson Darrock, wouldn't be able to use it for the close range weapon, but he could now make 6 attacks. So that would be 6 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit, with that long weapon range of 3 to 16. So I think this is a really great ability for a triple, but you really want to be getting a high value ability for sure. Now we're on to Cleona Zeitengale, and this miniature was one of the hardest to pair up. First I thought about using her as a sorceress, then maybe a high sister, but it didn't work out points value, and then also with heroes and things like that. But I always imagined her like kind of hovering, almost levitating off the ground and having like a long range. So I even thought about using her as a gyrocopter and using the stats from that card so she could fly across the battlefield. But that was too high again in points at 220. So I looked at doing something a little bit different. I looked at the Dark Rider, and this one is for usually a mounted fighter. But again, I imagine her like hovering, and so I imagine she'd be able to cover ground quickly as she levitates. So I think I'm going to use this one exactly as it would say on the card. So if she comes across a doorway or anything like that, she's not going to be able to fly through it because she'd be too high. I guess she'd bang her head on the top, and so I'll really stick to that mounted rune mark. So there is going to be some limitations, but we're still going to get that extended range, which I think will really make a difference and add something fun to the warband. So using the Dark Rider fighter card for Cleona Zeitengale, this is going to come in at 175 points. We're going to get a movement 10, toughness 4 and 18 wounds. We're going to get the mounted rune mark and one other rune mark for an ability we haven't seen yet. And I like the idea that she's got 18 wounds, and this is kind of the idea she's some kind of healer, so she's not going to be that easy to kill. She can kind of use her magic to heal herself. I really like that, and also that toughness of 4 can kind of play into that idea too. And with the weapons, we've got a ranged weapon of 3 to 12, so minimum 3, maximum 12, and I like the idea that this is some kind of magical blast from her hand there. You can see she's conjuring up this magic charge to throw. I like that. So that's going to be 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit, and then also she's got her stuff, so that's going to be range of 2, that makes sense, and then 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So although she's not going to put a lot of damage out, she's going to be quite tough, and having that range is really great for objectives. But I also think the idea of her floating across the battlefield is really cool, and so having that extra range is going to work really well for the narrative for this fighter. And just like all the fighters, she's going to get that reclaim for Sigmar and righteous purpose we did early on in the video, but she gets her own unique ability, which is a double called Rapid Redeploy. And with this, a fighter can use this ability only if they are within 1 inch of an enemy fighter. This fighter makes a bonus disengage action. So this it doesn't always sound that great, this bonus disengage action, but it can come in really handy, especially if you don't want your fighter to be stuck in some kind of grapple, some kind of battle with another fighter who's perhaps really strong and can do some damage. So this could be really useful, and certainly with her range, you could attack, then have a bonus disengage, and then leg it with that big 10 movement range and really get out of trouble ready for the next round. Our next fighter is Emelda Braskov, and I thought the Executioner fighter card was perfect for her, and at 115 points I think we get quite a lot here. We get a movement of 5, toughness 4, can take 10 wounds, we get a rune mark we haven't seen yet, and then with the weapon, it's a weapon range of 1, making 4 attacks, strength 3, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So although she's not very strong, that movement and toughness is really good, and making 4 attacks dealing 2 to 4 is always great, but we'd have to try and find a way maybe of improving that strength if we can with the different abilities and combining that with the abilities of the other fighters. But I really think this Executioner fits in really well, and happy with this for 115 points. And ability wise, she's going to get the Hammerhall fighter abilities plus this double called Pulverizing Strike. Add half the value of this ability, rounding up to the number of damage points allocated by each critical hit from the next attack action made by this fighter, this activation that has a range characteristic of 3 or less. So if we're making 4 attacks in an attack action, then we'd be looking to get a critical hit and hope we do get one, and then we can add half the value of this ability rounded up. There's a lot that has to go right for this, but we can certainly, once we start using that triple leader ability from one of the other fighters for Sigmar and for Hammerhall, then perhaps this would give it like a little bit extra probability of getting those critical hits and for this Pulverizing Strike to pay off. Our next fighter is Qulathis the Exile, and this was again a nice easy option straight away. Sister of the Watch, and at 105 points we're getting a movement 5, toughness 3, can take 8 wounds. We've got the rune mark for the volley of shots that we've already seen, and got 2 weapon options. So the first one is that ranged weapon, minimum 3, maximum 16, 2 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit, and then if you get up close, so you can pull out a dagger, range 1, 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So not a huge damage output here, but it's nice to see a ranged weapon having a strength of 4. So often it can be 3, but then you'd get 3 attacks, so you're kind of almost bouncing that off. But having that strength 4 is good, and again with that volley of shot ability, we can start increasing this number of attacks for the attacks characteristic anyway. So we really will be wanting to make use of this ability, which is the triple volley of shots that we've seen already, and she's also going to get the other 2 fighter abilities that come for Hammerhall. Now it's time for Brutogg Corpse Eater to come onto the scene, and this one was tough again. I was looking at different ways of putting him in at high point value so that he would get lots of damage points, and a lot of for Cities of Sigmar there's no big units except for the mounted ones, and so it didn't really make sense for him to have like a large distance that he could travel, and so I went for the Hammerer in the end. The points worked out really nicely and this all fit in really well, so I've chose the Hammerer, and at 110 points we're going to get a movement of 3, toughness 4, can take 12 wounds, and we get the Pulverizing Strike. We get the rune mark, so we can use that Pulverizing Strike ability. And for the weapon, it's a range of 1, can make 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So I think for 110 points to be able to do 2 to 5 damage, that's pretty good. He can make 3 attacks. So again, we're going to be wanting to use that triple leader ability from our leaders to really help him improve that for Sigmar and for Hammerhall ability. So that's really going to help bump up his attack characteristic, and I think this is a great fighter choice to use for him to make it 1,000 points, make it all work, but also to give him that high amount of damage output. And toughness 4 is okay, and I think the movement's bang on, so pretty happy with that for 110 points. And then that ability, which we've just seen, is the Pulverizing Strike. With only 2 fighters left, it's time for Galario Van Outen III to make an appearance, and he's going to be a Dark Shard, and for this fighter card it's 75 points. He's got a movement 5, toughness 3, can take 8 damage. He's got the rune mark, so he can use that volley of shots ability, and he's got 2 weapons. The first one is a ranged weapon for that pistol, minimum 3, maximum 12. He can make 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit, and then he's also got his sword, so if he gets up close, weapon range 1, making 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 2 on a crit. So for this guy, the damage output's not going to be great, and so I think that suits the character. He's all kind of like for show and pretense, but when it actually comes to the action, he's not all that good. And so that really fits in with the narrative for him. And I think 75 points, you get what you pay for, but having that movement 5 is going to be pretty handy. And also that ability, the volley of shots for a triple is good. And of course he still gets that double reclaim for Sigmar and the quad righteous purpose ability too. Now it's our final fighter, Dagnai Holdenstock. And for this guy I thought, perfect for an Iron Drake. He's got that range weapon and he's got an axe, so he can be up close too. So this works out really well. And for 95 points, he's got a movement of 3, toughness 4, can take 12 wounds. He's got the rune mark, which you know now is for the volley of shots, so you can use that ability too. His first weapon is a range minimum 3, maximum 12, make 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. But if he gets up close, he can hit you with the axe, or his fist, or his gun, whatever he likes, and that's a range of 1, 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 2 on a crit. So again, the output here is not huge, but we're making use of that range weapon, and if we can use that volley of shots and get a high value ability, then that's going to work out really well. So there we go, there's the Iron Drake for Dagnai Holdenstock, and that's the final fighter that we're going to put together from the heroes of Cursed City, and he's got that volley of shots, and also he's going to also get the reclaim for Sigmar and righteous purpose abilities. That's our 8 heroes from Cursed City, all assembled with the cities of Sigmar, Warband, ready for Warcry. And so with that 1000 points we can play open or match play, we can start a campaign, but if we look to go up to 1400 points, then we're going to have to bring in some other fighters, some other miniatures, and I'll have a look at some of the other miniatures that came with Cursed City and see if we can do that at a later date. But don't forget, all this information is taken from the Sentinels of Order book, and I'll put a link to that so you can pick it up at Element Games. I'll put that in the description below. That'll be an affiliate link, but it won't cost you anything extra. In fact, you can save up to 20% there on all your game products, and for every sale made through that affiliate link, I get a small commission, and that helps me do loads more videos like this. So thanks so much for that support. It's really cool. Thank you. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page, and thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out, and you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'll be great to see you there. I hope you enjoyed the video, and this gave you an insight into how you can use other miniatures from other games in Warcry using those supplement books. And there's loads of options for different fighter cards, and you can even bring in allies from different factions from the Alliance of Order. So it'd be great to hear what you think and which fighter cards you would use for the different miniatures. So it'd be awesome to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.